The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of how you play the game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible. So right before we started the podcast, I was about to tell Sean a joke, and then I realized I needed to save the joke for the podcast. So I said, well, let's wait. And he goes, I think that in itself is a joke. So I just want the world to know that we save jokes in a very, earth-conscious manner and right. Use them here for their maximum value. We're basically doing like recycling.
Right.
Is what we're doing.
And it's not like you're breaking in, there's the cheap shot of breaking in the joke on one person and then rehearsing it and
right.
then working it, which we do ad nauseum, right?
Exactly.
So let's just switch it up a little bit.
Exactly. It's not like I'm going to bring up Aztec Pyre, okay? Which, if you don't know that joke, which you probably don't, we were in a rehearsal and we were playing a song called Aztec Fire, which was kind of fast and upbeat in Latin. And in a certain part in the middle, Sean, who's conducting it, says, I want to take it a little slower. And I suggested like a real slow tempo. And Nadia goes, it's not a dirge. And I said, well, if it becomes a dirge, then it becomes an Aztec Pyre. And Sean called it stupid, that he loved it.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Usually when something is stupid, I love it.
Yeah.
Except for episode 8. But
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
You can suck it.
So now I'm going to write a chorale called Aztec Pyre.
I love it. And then
with the same chords
right.
as Aztec Fire.
Now that's going to be the minor version. So what's the major version going to be? We have to come up with an inside joke for that one.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
We might have to let that one breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Aztec Pyre was really
good. I got to come up with something stupid for a major version.
Right.
And,
this could be like extended chorales. Like
exactly.
I already did all 15 keys, so right. we'll add on to it.
Yeah. And then so the other thing I was going to tell you, the joke that I was going to save was, what I was thinking about last night? I couldn't remember it until very, very late last night. Was the song that I played in rehearsal as a march, and it turned out to be the Brady Bunch.
Yes. Because
we're playing, what march are we playing?
The Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell, and at the top it says "A la Marcia."
Yeah.
And I said, who's Marcia? And they go, Marcia, Marcia, Marcia.
Perfect.
And I started playing the theme to the Brady Bunch as a march. So,
so you can write that one.
I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to study Sousa marches and really try and autistically weave
and
artistically both. There's double weaving going on. Okay.
Yes.
Of the arts and the aughts.
We get nothing done in rehearsal.
How do we even and yet we have a good group.
We have a great group. I'm excited for our concert.
You and me both. If you're listening to this now, this podcast episode is coming out just days before the concert, which is May the 5th, which is not Star Wars Day. That's right. Sith Day.
May the 5th. Oh, Sith Day.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
Right.
There was a meme of Palpatine where it was like every day in May was a Sith holiday after
right.
like May the Sith be with you, and there was like something else. I can't remember the other ones. I'll have to find it.
No, that's good. I can't not hear songs without hearing Palpatine in it, like The Hustle.
Yes.
Do it. Or the Can't Touch This version. Do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's my life right now. So.
Oh yeah. Here we go. It's not just Palpatine. It was Hold on, let me see if I can.
All right, this is breaking news here.
Star Wars week. May the 4th be with you. There's always a bigger 5th. Revenge of the 6th. I am the 7th.
Nice.
There's no. Wait, what does it say? I can't open it. That's no moon. Eight's a space station. Okay.
Instead of it's a space station.
Oh, eight's a space. Okay.
Wow.
A 9 addition to my collection.
Jeez.
It's treason 10. I like it.
That's pretty good, actually.
I like it.
That's pretty good. I'm
Gonna have
save
to
that as a wall. Yeah, set it as a
celebrate that all
wallpaper.
week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We need to get like a poster of that and put it up somewhere.
I'll text it to you.
Okay, that's good. Speaking of posters and texting it to me, welcome to How You Play the Game.
Oh yeah,
because that is a segue, my friends.
Right.
Welcome to How You Play the Game, the official podcast of the Yosef Foundation Incorporated. Yours truly, Jack Furlong, with you as we talk to you about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the first episode of the month of May. The year is 2024. As always, check us out at osipfoundation.org. Email the show using the address podcast@osipfoundation.org. On social media, we're at facebook.com/OSIP Foundation, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram are at OSIP Foundation, hashtag How You Play the Game. And as always, the producer engineer of the show is Mr. Sean Ryan. Sean, hello, how are you?
How long would we have to say X, formerly known as Twitter? I mean, couldn't we just say X at this point?
You know, maybe at least until I stop calling them tweets.
So
you know what I
would
mean?
Call them instead. X's?
I think they call them X. Share your X, kind of a thing. I've heard.
Oh, wait a minute! Now that's a different kind of website.
Yeah, definitely. I have a very bad feeling about this. Okay, if I can go complete Star Wars here.
There we go.
All right. I have no. I see. I was so ingrained, thanks to Craig Ferguson when he was on the Late Late Show. Mm-hmm. With him calling it Twitter and the tweets, because he had all those jingles about what he called tweet mail. And right. I sing those jingles still. And so I think it'll be ingrained in me for a long time. I
mean, I still get the notifications. I mean, I don't really use Twitter, but sorry, X. See, I'm saying it.
See?
But when I get email notifications every so often, X in parentheses, formerly Twitter, I'm like, how long are they going to do it?
As long as they're doing it, then I don't feel bad doing it.
I suppose. I mean,
you're just constantly going back to Star Wars here.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I think if the day that this episode comes out is the last ever episode of the Bad Batch being released too. So
I need to catch up on that.
Yeah, I just watched the penultimate episode.
There we go.
So now we've got one more.
And by the way, there's second to last is penultimate.
Right.
And then the third to last is antepenultimate.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth to last is the pre-antepenultimate. And I just found this out last week. Fifth to last is pre-antepenultimate. So, I'm going to use that.
Oh, absolutely. And
all the time.
We need to make a poster of that to go right next to the Star Wars poster of these holidays.
Perfect.
We
just create a whole wall of
posters.
Useless.
And then what we'll do is we'll assign a child to do it, and then we'll call him the poster child.
Great. Well, when I was in college, we had a whole wall of those like peel off Star Wars calendars.
Yeah.
That featured featured 365 characters.
Okay.
And
I still have one of those, actually.
My friend and I in college, we made the wall of ugly. Oh. So we put all the ugly characters up on the wall.
How many of my exes were there?
Tweets
or formerly Twitter, yes.
Or women.
Could be both. Not mutually exclusive, my friend.
Right. So, see, this is part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you even get out of college?
I don't know. I found the door somehow.
You didn't even, you know what? The poster child joke didn't even give me a chance to reference NAMBLA. So, I mean, like. I
North
stopped
American
showing
Marlon
Brando lookalikes. Yeah.
lookalikes.
And let's go kick their ass for taking our domain name.
That's another show I have to watch from
South Park?
beginning to end.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that might be one of the funniest lines I think in the entire series. The fact that they're making fun of NAMBLA the entire time, which is the North American Man Boy Love Association,
Yep.
and then the cops bust in to break in to bust them, and they instead break into the North American Marlon Brando lookalike. So they go, damn it, we got the wrong NAMBLA. And they go into this whole thing about how, yeah, we've been fighting with them too, and whatnot. And they're going, and they even say like, yeah, we've had a problem. They took the website and all this different stuff, and then all of a sudden they join forces together. Like, well, let's go get them. And then this one black guy who looks nothing like or sounds like nothing like Marlon Brando stands up at the back and goes, and yeah, let's go kick their asses for taking our domain name too. Yeah. Just like. It's so stupid that I love it. It's kind of like the Aztec Pyre thing. So
right, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Theater of the absurd. It's the best.
It's just like the episode. Not that I'm going to go down this road, but the episode that they released right before Y2K, and they had God come back to answer one question, and God comes back, and he's this tiny little lizard dude.
Yeah.
And he's talking in this, very majestic voice. And he's like, is there something wrong? As they're all staring at him. And he goes, and I think it was Mr. Garrison who goes, well, we just didn't expect you to look like that. And he goes, well, what did you expect me to look like? And there's this pregnant pause. And then all of a sudden Garrison goes, well, not like that.
Yeah. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
That all the time.
Yeah. Well, how did you want me to do it? Well, not like that. It's amazing that we even, like you said, we get anything done in that rehearsal. How do we get anything done on this podcast?
I don't know. We managed to do it. I mean, this is what, 157, 158.
And you know what? I got a great compliment the other day about the podcast.
You did?
Yeah. The guy who listens to it said he likes the fact now that we alternate between the bantering episodes between you and me, the longer, more, has more substance, with a lot of laughs, all that different thing. And then there's the short episode that I do by myself that's between like 10 and 20 minutes. So that you get such a variety. Like sometimes you just don't have time to listen to an hour podcast that you and I do, as great as they are,
Okay. That's interesting.
And he said, I love it. I love going back and forth between the two varieties. Because it gives me everything that I want, time-wise and content-wise and whatnot.
That's great.
When I heard that from him, I was like, well, thank you. That I wasn't quite sure if I liked doing that. I much prefer to do these where it's you and me bantering. But if people are going to, appreciate that alternation, and we kind of give something for everybody in that way.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it frees me up too, because especially with the semester and teaching and everything, it's a lot
easier to just do one instead of two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also kind of dirty.
Right.
Twitter. Yeah, because of the X and share your X. Yeah. Yeah. I see river. River. Just go drop in the river.
Right.
Aztec River, No, that one doesn't. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I'll think of something. All right. Yeah. So, anywho, let's dive into the topic today. Now,
yes,
I want to preface this by saying we are recording this episode a week before it releases. Now, we should have plenty of substance for it, but because there's such a time lapse, it's certainly possible that something occurs between now and the release of the episode that we cannot cover if something does come out in the in the news cycle. So I'm just putting that out there.
Whatever can be updated.
Right, exactly. We'll talk about it on another episode or something like that. So I just want people to know that we did our research and we understand it. Okay.
Right.
So I'm watching the game between the Yankees and the Athletics, which they're putting on a Monday afternoon. The Yankees were the only one playing a Monday afternoon game that day, and I believe it was because of Passover. They have a very high Jewish population fan base, and they said, you know what, we want to honor our fans and allow them to come to the game. So they did that, and I thought that was a nice gesture. So I'm watching the game, and first batter of the game, Esteury Ruiz for the A's, gets hit in the foot by a Carlos Rodon breaking ball, and he goes around to swing. It's a check swing, and Hunter Wendelstedt is the home plate umpire. He obviously calls time to kill it because it hit him, and he goes down and checks with John Tumpain, the first base umpire, for the swing, and John signaled no swing. So Aaron Boone immediately is, out of the dugout, kind of yelling at John, saying, that's a swing in my book. Like, how do you miss that, et cetera? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that steps in between the two. Not that they were ever getting close, but just says, I've heard enough. I don't want to hear any more of it. If I hear one more thing out of you, Boone, you're gone. Now, Boone at this point puts his hand up and then gives a thumbs up and quiets down. Okay. All of a sudden, like a good 3 to 5 seconds later, Wendelstedt turns around and ejects Boone. And Boone goes ballistic. And he's like, I didn't say anything, and the camera is on him the entire time. Right. Like I'm watching it. Like he literally like I can't say anything else. You're literally watching it, and he does not say a word. If he's making any sound, he's doing the because his lips are shut. Okay. Right. So now he's going ballistic because he didn't say anything. And Wendelstedt's going, I don't care, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter who said it, you're gone, etc. And that's when Marvin Hudson, the crew chief, comes down from third base to try and get in between. I mean, this goes on for a good couple of minutes because Boone is rightfully screaming from the rooftops about his innocence. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the cameras for the Yes Network kind of pull back a little bit, and they realize that a fan behind the dugout in the first row yelled at Wendelstedt, and that's what he heard. He was not looking, he heard it, and that's what caused him to eject Boone. And the cameras, and then you see Boone pointing over the dugout and the whole thing, and it got really, it was really a messed up kind of a thing on so many different parts. And right. So they a lot of the broadcasters are kind of poking fun at it, but also kind of criticizing it and whatnot. And you let it breathe as you examine it, and you check the post-game comments, and you watch and see what happens, and you listen to the announcers and whatnot. And eventually I thought it was a good topic for us to examine because there are so many different players in this event, and there are no innocent parties here. And that's what I want. What I want to address, and I think I want listeners to understand this isn't just a situation. Obviously, everyone and their mother starts yelling at Wendelstedt like, "You're a bad guy. You're a terrible umpire." Blah 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 blah. And I want to show how no one here is innocent, and no one here is really guilty either to a degree. So we're all just kind of like, it's a wash essentially. It's a giant push. Okay, mm-hmm. So. First, let's look at Aaron Boone. It's true that Aaron Boone did absolutely nothing to deserve that ejection. He heeded the warning of Hunter Wendelstedt, okay? However, Aaron Boone has a reputation. He's been ejected 35 times since he took over, I think, as the manager of the Yankees. And I think the statistic was like in the last 2 years, it's like pushing like 20 ejections, something like that. The next closest in the last 2 years is like 8 for managers. Okay? Yeah. So the point is that Aaron Boone has a reputation. Aaron Boone does not get the benefit of the doubt. Umpires everywhere know he is a hothead. He's even said he's trying to tone that down this year, but he doesn't, until that changes, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry. Umpires talk, and they know that this guy is a problem. Okay, and as a Yankees fan, I still consider him to be a problem because the dude has not won anything. And we've talked about Boone. I'm sure Boone is a nice guy. I've never met the guy, but I've always had kind of an issue with him for multiple reasons. And, and again, this is just me talking. You don't really appreciate what you have until it's gone. And that makes me go back and appreciate Joe Girardi more and Joe Torre more. It just Boone has never been for me the manager that I thought would be the best fit for this team. And, who am I to say anything? He's making $1 million+ bucks, and I'm sitting here doing a podcast with you. As much as I love it, I'm not making that kind of money. Okay.
Right.
So Boone doesn't get the benefit of the doubt there. Wendelstedt, okay, is someone who I've never met the dude, but I know he's a really, really good dude. And I can't fault him. The only thing I can fault him for is being aggressive right off the bat. And, people were kind of like joking around saying, man, he must have, had some bad eggs this morning or something, got out of the wrong side of the bed, that kind of a whole thing. And I thought to myself, I wonder if, because of travel, he's just cranky. And I even went back and I looked, he wasn't working on Sunday. So it couldn't have been travel. I don't think he could have gotten to New York at a very reasonable time, but maybe he just didn't want to be working a 1:00 game on a Monday afternoon in the Bronx. But what happens in those situations, as much as he, maybe he should not have been as stern. When an umpire does get to that point, the rabbit ears do go up. That's a natural reaction. So I don't blame him either, except for the fact that, should he have been a little bit calmer? I think probably. But I can't fault him for that. And going back to Boone for a second, now that I think of it, when Boone erupted, normally I don't like that kind of an eruption because, again, Boone has the reputation. However, this is a scenario where he's essentially shouting from the rooftops about his innocence, So again, I'll give Boone credit there. I say, as much as I don't like that type of a reaction, I understand that because he literally did what he was supposed to do, and he got in trouble for it. So I, in that scenario, I can say to Boone, okay, you know what? I totally get that. I can excuse your behavior here because I have the concrete evidence that you did not deserve this. So we've got that. Then we've got the fan who's behind the dugout. And he's the one who, like, they're pointing this guy out on camera and whatnot. And all I want to say to the fan is, just because you paid that kind of money or had access to that ticket right behind the Yankees dugout does not give you the right to yell at an umpire like that. And further, the one thing that I don't think the Yankees did, which I think they probably should have done in that scenario, I don't think they ever went down and removed that fan. Like if I'm the Yankees and I'm seeing this happen and I have some sort of evidence that this kind of thing occurred, I am going down and I am asking that fan to leave or to move him to a different seat. It is essentially of the same vein where if you have fan interference. Did the fan interfere with a live ball in play? No. But the fan did act in a way that affected the game where Wendelstedt ejected the manager.
Right.
And if I am the Yankees, I remove him and I place him in another place where he cannot he can't affect the game in the same way. And if you have a problem with trying to identify him, you move the whole row. Okay? And you just say you guys, no one in this everyone in this row has to go then. Umpires, we clear the stands in high school games and in rec games if no one owns up to it.
Right.
So I understand that large amounts of money are being spent for those tickets and whatnot, but I would prefer to see that gets taken care of. And finally, with the broadcasters, the media, I was watching it on TV where Ryan Rucco and John Flaherty did the TV broadcast, and then later I was in the car and I heard Justin Shackle and Susan Waldman, and with the exception of Justin Shackle, who really didn't opine on it, the other three did. And my comment to the three of them would be, you please do not opine as a reaction. Your job as a media member is not to, I see the kitty behind you.
Yeah. Well,
no. Sorry, I got distracted by Rogie the kitty. Sorry. Oh, it's so cute. She's so pretty. So anyway, the point I was going to make was, if you are a member of the media, I really don't think it's appropriate to offer such an opinion, a personal opinion like that, as if it were to be color commentary.
Right.
Unless you want to offer it in a way where you distinctly say, look, this is me talking from what I can see at this moment. This is how I feel. Don't phrase it in a way where people will confuse it to be gospel.
Right.
So, and the aftermath of all of this, Hunter Wendelstedt spoke to a pool reporter, and basically the comments were, and he admitted he had not seen a replay when he spoke to the pool reporter. So so he did not have an opportunity to gauge the whole thing, which right off the bat, you're like, well, wait a second, guys. I mean, maybe we need to give the umpires an opportunity to do that, so we can get all of the information here. Right. But he didn't see it. And as a result, his comments were, Aaron Boone is responsible for everyone in that dugout. I heard something come from the dugout. I don't want to eject a player if I don't have to, because I want to keep them in the game. The fans come and see them. They pay the money to come and see the players. And as a result, I ejected the manager because he's the captain of the ship. He's responsible for everyone in the dugout. And if I don't know, the manager goes. So, and he's doing the whole, this isn't my first rodeo. Fans are allowed to yell too, but if I don't know, that's where I'm going. And, then after that, I think Boone had communication with MLB, and Boone took the high road, and he just said, "Look, I've had good conversations with the powers that be at MLB. I'm moving on from it. It's going to be what it's going to be, and let's focus on the next game." And
so Wendelstedt thought that another player said it?
Yes, he thought he heard it coming from the far end of the dugout. Which,
okay,
if you believe it was the fan was directly behind Boone.
Right, so that's not the far end.
Right, and he's not looking, but his rabbit ears are up.
Right.
And the only other thing that I will say is that in his media availability thereafter, when he was talking about everything the next day, this is what Boone said. He said the article, which was written by Zach Brazilier, said, let me see here. Just trying to find it. Here it is. Okay. Boone has developed a reputation for getting into it with umpires. Now in his 7th season as Yankee skipper, he's been tossed 35 times. He has to answer for losing his temper, and he was asked if there should be more accountability for umpires who make mistakes like Wendelstedt. So right there, you've got the a media member assuming that it was a mistake in that scenario, which it probably was, but I don't know if it's your job to point that out. And Boone says this in response to that question. He says, quote, "I think they are scrutinized, frankly, as much as ever. And I think sometimes we see an event happen or a situation happen or a bad call here or there because it's right in front of you and we can all see it. That said, and I know I'm the poster child for arguing about these things and getting into it, but I really do feel like we have so many good umpires now. And these young umpires that come up from the minor leagues are now as good as ever." So I think there are those pitches, moments, situations that happen sometimes with an occasional umpire that spoil it for a lot of guys who I think are really good at the craft. And until that last line where he said to spoil it for a lot of guys, because that I think that infers something there. I was about to give him a tip of the cap, and then he said, he phrased it in a way that could be taken out of context. It might have been better to have said, like there are going to be mistakes, and it may appear that one mistake, makes it look like all umpires are bad, but it's just not the case,
right?
And if we can.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of what he was trying to say.
You think so? I think, yeah. I would agree with you. I think the problem is that people are not going to read it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, had Wendelstedt known it was a fan, I mean, I would imagine everything would have been different, right?
I would imagine so. If Wendelstedt knew it was a fan,
I don't think... eject a fan. I mean...
Yeah.
Right? At the major league level, you can do that.
You can essentially call security, and have someone removed. But in that scenario, if he knew it was a fan yelling at him, he probably would have done nothing. He probably would have just been able to ignore it. Because umpires are taught that at that level, to ignore that type of criticism.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's just interesting how... Yeah, I don't know. It feels it's a bunch of what ifs, right?
But, yeah, I mean, we're going down the hypothetical road, and that doesn't really do us much good.
Right. Well, in case something like this happens again, where an umpire does see a fan say something, I mean, we could see how that umpire reacts, or if doesn't react at all.
I'm pretty sure it would be the latter. Most umpires that I know say, in terms of fans at these professional events, it's a lot easier to let that roll off their back.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless the fan did something really egregious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like throw trash on the field or something.
Right. Or something. There was a situation I can recall a couple of years ago. I think it might have even been before COVID. Dan Bellino, who's a major league umpire, was doing a game at Yankee Stadium.
What's his number?
He wears number 2.
Oh.
So in case and I believe he's a lawyer, actually. So yeah, I think he has his law degree.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just shows you what I know. He's behind the plate for a game at Yankee Stadium, and all of a sudden he turns around and he goes to security directly behind him, and he asks for a fan to be removed. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the heck happened that he's asking for a fan to be removed? And it turns out that this fan was, I think, trying to relay signals or something like, and I think the fan was doing it of his own volition. Like, I don't think he was attached to any team or anything like that, but the fan was doing something like that, and Bellino heard it and immediately was like, I know exactly what I have to do here. And which I found to be educational and smart, in that, normally you don't see a major league umpire do that, but he could hear some fan behind him saying something akin to trying to relay signs, in real time to some player or something like that. And he made sure it was addressed.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Huh. And I didn't know that until I think the post-game press conferences. Because I think someone asked, I don't remember who, when it was, but they asked, I think, a manager, and they just said, what did you get an explanation about what that was about? And they said, apparently Bellino thought he heard somebody who was relaying signs and had him removed. So.
Did Aaron Boone say to Wendelstedt that it was a fan?
Yes, you can see that when it all happened, he and bench coach Brad Ausmus were basically like lividly pointing behind the dugout to the fan. And when Marvin Hudson came down to intervene, he was saying the same thing to him. And you could hear the audio mic pick up everything, complete with every profanity, and whatnot. And it was pretty intense what he was saying. But it was essentially, I didn't say anything. It was a fan. I didn't say anything. This is terrible. And I'm paraphrasing here without using the
the naughty words.
But Wendelstedt didn't care. He said, right?
Yeah. Once you eject somebody, you can't have a change of heart. It's just not. It's not in the cards. You know, we in umpire training, they say don't eject unless you absolutely have to, because once you do, it's not reversible.
Right.
You know, it's one thing if it's a judgment call in the field of play. It's a rule interpretation, and you're trying to get the call right and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to unsportsmanlike conduct and things like that, you don't have the ability to reverse course on that. So, I guess the lesson that I have taken from all of this, that I hope I want people to understand, is that there is no good or bad guy in this. Everybody has a part to play, and it's just for lack of a better term, a little bit of a shit show.
Right.
Don't just say that Hunter Wendelstedt is a bad umpire, and don't just say that Aaron Boone didn't deserve it. Understand the intricacies of and the psychology that goes into the entire scenario. And what was funny about it, I get on Christopher Russo a lot, for these types of takes, and he actually kind of said the exact same thing that I'm saying here. And then his co-host Alana Rizzo on High Heat,
which is weird because he's usually pretty fiery.
Exactly. And Alana Rizzo came out and said this is ridiculous. Wendelstedt should be ashamed. He should be this. He should be that. And Russo came out and said, "Now hold on here. Hold on. You can't say that because Boone has the reputation." And he gave the statistics of the ejections, and he said, "You can't. You have to understand that in that scenario, you know the practical reality of of what's going on. Perception is reality here." So
yeah. It's interesting.
So that's my take. What do you think?
I think in that particular instance, if you're not sure where the call is coming from, or where the shouting is coming from, and if like you said, you can't take back a call, you're an ejection. If Hunter thought he heard the call coming from the dugout and, pointed to Boone like, "Hey, you're responsible for the actions of the players." I mean, that's true, obviously, but it was just a big misunderstanding. And I think that if Hunter had known that it was a fan, it wouldn't have gone down like that.
I would agree.
So it's, I think Boone had every right to stand up for himself in that moment. It's sort of like two kids starting a fight in school, and one kid has the reputation of always being the first one to throw the punch. But in this case, it was someone else who punched him, and yet he still gets in trouble, right? Because he's known to be in that situation before.
Yep.
That's called getting a reputation.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, reputations lead to future actions.
In fact, it was probably the reputation that caused Wendelstedt to warn him so sternly right away. It was 5 pitches into the game.
Right. So I think, and then at that point, his senses, like you said, were heightened. And we're almost looking for, someone to say something. Not looking for someone to say something, but like just being more aware.
Right.
So it sucks. It happens, I guess, I would imagine not very often.
Probably not.
Not like that.
No.
But if this were an isolated incident and Boone did not have the reputation of getting ejected so much, I would probably side with him a little bit more.
Yeah.
But 25 times in 7 seasons?
38 times.
Oh, 38.
38, 35. It was in the 30s.
Yeah.
Close the window. I'm sorry. How dare I?
You
Unacceptable.
idiot.
Pathetic.
So yeah, I don't know. If he had a better reputation, I would I would have sided more with him, but it's oh, it's there's so many different intervening variables here that
I would also
just,
imagine that MLB probably came out, examined the whole situation, talked to Boone and said, "Don't worry, we understand. It's all good." And then maybe talked to Wendelstedt and said, "Hey, we have reason to believe that it was a fan, and just be a little bit more prudent next time if you could."
yeah.
And it's going to be handled in house and quietly,
Mhm.
and they're not. MLB is not
The
going
way it
to
should be.
right. MLB is not going to throw Wendelstedt to the Sharks. They're not. The fans can demand a pound of flesh all they want. It's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's I almost think that if they're not already, there should be some sort of sign like in that area of seating, like, be respectful, and like sportsmanship signs.
right,
but
ironic, right?
But like at a ironic. He couldn't save himself. I think that there should be some sort of sign. If you're sitting down in that, like, that what's that called?
The field level.
Field level
Yeah,
seats, right? There should be some sort of sign that says be respectful, and
They do that at NBA games. There are actually NBA officials who I think kind of look like Secret Service people who go around with little index cards that say you have been warned, and it has like all these little things on it and says if they find you yelling at a ref or at an opposing player or anything like that beyond just standard boos or come on or something like that, they will hand those out.
Interesting. Maybe they should start doing that at ball games.
Yeah. The only thing is that I believe that when people get that nowadays, they look at it and they go, this is a joke, right? And then they, because they can't accept responsibility themselves, they turn it back out into social media and outwards and saying, I'm not the joke. You're the joke for handing this out and for not being able to take it, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we come in and we have to say, no. Your behavior warranted this. And,
Right. It's unacceptable.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like just, not abiding by a law, whether you like the law or not,
Right.
You don't like the speed limit on this road, don't drive on the road.
Or become a council member.
And change it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Do it.
So, do it. I am the council. Oh, by the way, I thought of an idea.
Oh, this is a never good, but also very good.
So the board of OSIP should be called the Directorate, and not the board of directors.
The Directorate.
Like the March.
Yeah,
the
a la Marcia.
Yeah.
And the Brady Bunch.
So I think we should be called the Directorate. I think that would be much more interesting.
Okay.
The Directorate.
The Directorate.
Yeah. I am the director.
For your ego only. Let's see what I can do. Okay.
I like it.
I like it.
It's old fashioned, but it's it's got a certain.
I'll make the announcement at the gala.
Perfect.
That this is now known as the Directorate.
Yes.
And speaking of the gala,
will be reorganized
into the first
galactic directorate. Please, can I do that?
As long as I can stand behind you and go boom, boom, ba-doom. Speaking of the gala, let's advertise it and plug it real quick.
Yes.
The second annual OSIP Gala fundraiser will be held on Sunday, June 2nd from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Hopo Valley Golf Course. It was such a success last year that we hope people come out, purchase tickets, have fun. All the usual refinements of, silent auction, entertainment speeches. We'll be giving out awards. This year, we're presenting the inaugural version of the John Landy Award for Sportsmanship Excellence to players and coaches, and we'll be honoring two gentlemen who I know very well, Justin Burrell and Dan DiStefano, for their contributions to sportsmanship as players and coaches. So tickets are $100 each, and there are only 100 tickets available. It is a black tie preferred event, and we hope that everybody can come out and join us because it's going to be a great time. There's both an open and a cash bar, which is really important, and a very, very nice buffet will be there as well. So
Good.
we really hope that that you can come out and join us. If you want tickets, go to osipfoundation.org/gala and get your tickets now. I think
I already got my tuxedo, so I'm ready to go.
I am ready to go. I cannot wait. So, and we've got some great items up for auction this year, including the one that I just posted. There's a framed Star Wars photo that is autographed by Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew, and George Lucas. That will be up for auction. Yep.
Holy cow.
There's a lot of good stuff that's up for auction. There's that. There's an Arnold Palmer autographed Masters flag with a scorecard from Augusta.
Holy cow.
There will be an autographed photo of Yogi Berra. There will be an autographed New York Football Giants helmet that's autographed by like 15 great New York Giants players and coaches.
Oh my goodness.
What else do we have? We have an autographed movie poster from Caddyshack.
Oh, wow.
Signed by, I think, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Michael O'Keefe, and Cindy Morgan.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we'll also have an autographed album from Bon Jovi and one from Bruce Springsteen. And then we'll also have an autographed Marvel photo of actually an animation signed by Stan Lee as well, too.
Jeez.
So there's gonna be some good stuff.
Oh, my God. That's like leaps and bounds above what it was. I mean, not that the prizes were bad last year, but
It's a step up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So bring your
Wow.
checkbook or your credit card.
I might bid on some of that stuff myself.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
yeah, you won't. You won't.
Oh,
Huh?
I'll try.
All right. I'll see what. Yeah. If you need to rob a store first, so you can get.
I am
money.
the directorate.
I am the directorate. Yeah. Great. Now I got to write that speech. Okay. Yeah. When you give your speech to open the night, could you please dress as Palpatine?
Oh my gosh, with the red cloak.
Yeah.
Like when he announces the first Galactic Empire.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one. And then I'll come out with a lightsaber and.
Cool.
Yeah.
I need someone to dress up as the blue alien with the staff. What's his name?
Orn Frita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need someone he needs to stand behind me
Okay.
while I announce it.
How many? Well, oh man, I just thought of a terrible, terrible joke at your expense.
Good, please.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Well, you're the fattest one, so you should probably do it. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Hey, listen, not for long.
That's my brother, not.
I've lost I've lost 10 pounds. I've lost my 10 pounds.
Hey, great for you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I'm
Are you feeling better too with that?
yeah, I'm a bit. I still have that hamstring thing going on, but it's not as bad. A couple weeks ago I threw out my back
Picking up a pencil.
picking up a stupid pencil.
Yeah.
And my back's completely better, but it affected something I think that's what affected my hamstring.
That's fair.
So I've been stretching it very mildly and it's better, but I'll still get little twings here and there. So I haven't been exercising as vigorously, but I've been more watching my diet.
That's good.
And that's like more than, I mean, that's 90% of it. So,
oh, absolutely. That's how I lost weight.
right.
You know, I was
So
at 260. I'm down to like 225.
that's really good.
You know, so, and speaking of my brother, not a shout out to the retired John Sterling, who hung him up after all those years, and I put something up on social media, and I just said I always wondered if I had a home run call from John Sterling, what would it be? And I thought it would be something like, "You think that ball was hanging around? Huh, not for long."
It is high. It is far. Gone.
So happy trails to John Sterling, who is turning 86 this July,
Wow.
and still totally with it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good.
So, all right. Well, let's end on that downer.
Well, I think it's happy.
Is it a
good
happy?
For him.
It's a.
Good
It's
for
a.
him
Yeah. Good for you,
retiring.
John. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've worked long enough. You got to. You
Right.
got to 85. I think that's. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right. Well, we've done all the damage we can do here.
Yes.
So, Sean, thank you.
Yep.
And thanks to everyone for joining us today. Don't forget to check us out at osafoundation.org. Contact the show via email, podcast@osafoundation.org, facebook.com/osafoundation, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram @osafoundation, #HowYouPlayTheGame. Gala tickets available at osafoundation.org/gala. Don't forget about that. Lots of good memorabilia up for auction.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to everyone in just a few short weeks. And until then, treat each other with respect.
How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.